Hi, this is Tamara from mooglyblog.com, and in this video I'm going to be demonstrating how to crochet the Summer Fling Throw. You can find the written pattern as well as the chart and info on stitch multiples and 5 different sizes on mooglyblog.com. If needed, look in the video description for the link. For this pattern, you will need Lion Brand 24/7 cotton and a J hook. This one is by Furls. Here you can see a bit of the finished blanket. Again, go to the link in the description for a fuller picture of the blanket that more than we can really show right now on camera. Now, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so if you look at the written pattern for the Summer Fling Throw, you'll see that it calls for a multiple of 20 plus 3, and there are instructions for 5 different sizes that give specific stitch counts and row counts. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to start with a chain of 43, which is a multiple of 20 plus 3. So after I've made my chains, it's time to start working into that first chain for row 1. Now I like to work into the back of the chain, the back humps. If you prefer, you can work this row into under the top 2 loops of the chain, which is the more traditional method. You can use whichever one you prefer. So you can see I'm yarned over here. I'm going to skip those first 3 chains, and then in the next 2 chains I'm going to work a double crochet 2 together. So I go into that 4th chain from the hook and pull up a loop. Then I yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. So there's 2 loops left on my hook. Yarn over again, go into the next chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then with 3 loops left on my hook, I yarn over and pull through all 3, and that's my double crochet 2 together. Those 3 chains we skipped do not count as a stitch for the purposes of this pattern. So after my double crochet 2 together, I'm going to do a repeat that I do 3 times, where I chain 1, skip the next chain, and double crochet in the chain after that. My crochet wants to curl up on me a little bit there. There we go. So that's 1 repeat of it. Chain 1, skip a chain, double crochet in the next. So that is 2 repeats. Then I do it a 3rd time. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next one. I pulled out some yarn ahead and it's trying to creep into my hand. Let me straighten that out here a little bit. Okay, so you can see where we're at. We've chained 1, skipped 1, and double crocheted 3 times. So then that's the end of that little part in the brackets if you're following along in the written instructions. From there, we chain 1, skip the next chain, and then we're going to work 5 double crochets all into the next chain after that. If you're familiar with ripple patterns, which the Summer Fling Throw is, then you'll know that there needs to be increases and decreases, generally speaking, to help create that great ripple shape. So by working 5 double crochets all into the same chain, that gives us our increase. That is how we make the increases on this row. So of course, those are going to have to be balanced on the valleys. This is sort of the hilltop. So we've got 5 double crochets into that 1 chain. It's a little loose right there. I know that looks a little gappy, but at the end, you can work a single crochet border all around, and when you work in there, that will help tighten it up. So from there, we go back to our brackets, which we repeat 3 times, which, if you may recall, is chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. So I'll yarn over, double crochet in that next one. So that's 1, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, like so. That's 2. Then chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next one after that. And that is 3. So at this point we can glance and see, yep, we've got our 3 lonely double crochets after our increase. From there, we chain 1 again, skip the next stitch, and then we're going to work a double crochet 5 together. That's our decrease. So to do that, I'm going to go into the first one, or the first indicated stitch, after we've skipped 1, of course. I'm going to stop with 2 loops left on the hook, yarn over, go into the next one after that to start the next double crochet. Stop with 3 loops left on the hook, yarn over again, go to the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. I have 4 loops on the hook, 3 double crochets started, halfway made. So we've got 2 more to go. Yarn over, go to the 4th one, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. So now I should have 5 loops on my hook. Yep. Then we yarn over and go into that 5th one finally. This is a big decrease, but we have to balance that double crochet 5 in the same stitch. So now we've got 6 loops left on the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 double crochets started. So we're going to yarn over and pull through all 6 of those loops. There we are, and that's our double crochet 5 together. Then we begin our repeat again. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next. There's 1, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. And that's our 3. Remember, we've always got those 3 lonely ones. Then we chain 1, skip 1, and it's time for another increase. 5 double crochets all worked in the same stitch. Now obviously, to make a ripple work, you've got to split either an increase or a decrease. And this is kind of some higher level theory, I guess, of how they work. If it confuses you, don't worry about it. But if you've been crocheting for a while and you want to figure out, maybe design your own ripples, then you need to think about splitting either the increase or the decrease on the ends. And if you look, oops, let me turn it around here, it got a little twisted, at this would be a decrease here at this end that's been cut in half. So that will balance on the other side, you'll see shortly. But first, we've got our increase here, 5 double crochets in 1 stitch. So from there, we do our bracketed repeats again. Chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet in the next. So there's 1 of those. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. There's 2. And then chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next again. And that should be 3. So we've got our 3 lonely double crochets. So to finish off the row, now when you're making the blanket, of course, you're going to have many more of these repeats, but you know you're ready to finish it off when you get to this point and you just have these 4 chains left. Hopefully you've got 4 chains left, otherwise your stitch count might have been off. So when you've got those 4 chains left, what you're going to do is yarn over and skip. Remember we chained 1. Okay, let me step back for a minute. We've got our 3 lonely double crochets and I chained 1 again after that. So I just want to point that out. My hands just kind of went ahead and did it without me. Then I'm going to skip this chain after that and work a double crochet 3 together over those last 3. So that's how we're going to finish off the double crochet rows. So double crochet 3 together. Now that we've made a 5 together, the 3 together should be pretty easy, right? I've got 2 loops left on the hook. I've started 1, but I'm going to yarn over and start another one. Wants to disappear on me there. There we go. So I've got 2 started, 3 loops left on the hook, yarn over, go into that last chain, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. And then since I've got 4 loops left on the hook, I'll pull up a little bit more yarn here. Then I will yarn over and pull through all 4 loops to finish off the double crochet 3 together. So that's the end of row 1. To begin row 2, we're going to chain 1, and you're going to love this row. It's so simple. We're going to single crochet in each stitch and chain space across, leaving the turning chain at the end unworked. So we've chained 1, we go into the top of that double crochet 3 together, and there's our single crochet. Then we know we've got a chain space there, single crochet. That double crochet, we go in there and work a single crochet. There's always that chain in between. Don't try and work into the chain unless you really want to. If you prefer the look, you can, but it's much easier. Just go right down into that chain space and work your single crochet there. And we're going to do that on across, which I know sounds pretty darn simple, but I just want to make sure that you see it is every stitch. You don't have to worry about the decreases mirroring those at all in this row or even the increases. It's literally just one single crochet in each stitch or chain space across, just whatever you come to. So you do want to make sure you get all 5 single crochets in your 5 double crochets. And of course, don't skip your chain spaces. But I'm just going to continue working single crochets all the way across this row. And of course, if you're making this right along with the video, you're probably making something significantly larger than this, unless you're making something like a scarf, or you're just making this swatch with me. So feel free to pause at this point if you need to, so you can single crochet all the way across. But I just want to show you, I've come to my double crochet 5 together. It can be really tempting to crochet right in there and call that your double crochet 5 together, but this is actually the loop that's the top of that stitch, and this is a chain 1. So right here you need to make sure to go into that chain 1 space and then into the top of the double crochet 5 together, like so. Then of course you've got a chain 1 on the other side. You remember you made that. And then from there it's relatively easy sailing. Of course, until you come to another double crochet 5 together. Sorry, I just had to pull up a little bit more yarn. We're almost there. We're coming up to our last, we're on our last repeat here. I started with 43 chains, so officially that would be 2 repeats of the pattern. But because we have that split decrease, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute or two, that counts as one of our decreases to balance that second increase we have on our swatch. Again, that can be really confusing if you aren't familiar with ripples or the math of it at all, but if you are, then hopefully that will make a little bit of sense. All right, we're almost there. And just a few more to go. Oops. All right, we are coming right to the end. And like I said, when you work these rows, you want to make sure not to work in the turning chain. In row 1, it was a chain 3 that we skipped, but in the other rows coming up with the double crochets, the other odd numbered rows, it's just going to be a chain 2. But I will show you that here in just a second. So here we are at the end of our row. Like I say, you want to make sure not to work into that chain 3 and not to skip this chain 1 spaces on either side of those decreases. So we've got one more chain 1 space, like so, and then we go in the top. Oh, didn't want to grab the other loop. There we are. The top of that double crochet 2 together that we started with, and that is the end of row 2. So a little bit more about, I promised a little bit more about that split decrease. By having a double crochet 3 together and double crochet 2 together with a little chaining to get you your turning chain, that is your split decrease on the ends. So if you count the ends as 1 decrease, and of course this decrease, then you've got 2 decreases worked across and 2 increases, and so we know that our ripple is balanced. So let's move on to row 3. Let me pull up a little bit more yarn for it. There we are. Now row 3 begins with a chain 2. 1 and 2, like so, and then of course turn to go back the other way. Some people like to chain before they turn. I like to do so, but some people like to turn and then chain. Doesn't matter. From here, we're going to skip the first stitch and work a double crochet 2 together. So that chain 2 sort of counts as part of our decrease here at the beginning. All right, so we've got our decrease there. And then from there, this is all going to look pretty familiar. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next 3 times. 1. It's just a little bit easier now because we're working into stitches instead of a fiddly chain. There we are. 2. And in fact, we're working into a nice row of single crochets, which is really easy and speedy to work into. So there's our 3rd repeat of those single double crochets. Remember, from there we chain 1, skip the next stitch, and we're on an increase. We know we're in the right spot because we're in the middle stitch of that increase, because this is where we put our next increase. 5 more double crochets all in that stitch. So of course the written pattern has all the instructions spelled out, but in a lot of ways you can sort of read this pattern, read the previous rows as you work, just to double check your work. So we've got our 5 double crochets there, right on top of our previous 5 double crochets. So it's time for those lonely double crochets again that get us back down to the valley. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. There's 1, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. And then we're going to be coming up to our decrease. So we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and then double crochet 5 together. We'll know we're in the right place if the center of those is right on top of our previous decrease. So we skip that one, go into the first one, stop with 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go into the second one, stop with 3 loops on the hook. And it looks like we're going into the stitch that's worked right there, so we should be fine. It's worked right into the top of our previous one, so we're right where we need to be. Stop with 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, go to the next one, stop with 5 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and go into that last one there. We've got 6 loops left on the hook, so it's time to yarn over and pull through for our decrease. You can see that's lined up right above our previous decrease. From there, we know how we get back up the hill, right? Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next 3 times. So there's 1, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. There's 2, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. That's our 3. And then of course chain 1, skip 1, and we're back at our increases. So this gets 5 double crochets right in the center of that previous increase. And we're almost at the end of row 3 because I've made such a short swatch. And this is a good time to tell you the repeat for the rest of this pattern. It's just rows 2 and 3. We've got our 5 double crochets, so let's finish this one out. We're going to skip the next one, double crochet in the next, chain first of course, got to have our chain 1 space, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, that's 2, there we are, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the last, well, not the last stitch, last one of our lonely double crochets for this row. Then we chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet 3 together. We've got 4 stitches left, so we know we've worked it just right up till now, so we'll skip that one and decrease over these last 3. Just like we did the other decreases. Just start a double crochet in each one, leaving that last loop on the hook. Double crochet 3 together. You should have 4 loops, 3 from each of those half double crochets and 1 from the previous stitch. Yarn over, pull through to finish. So row 4 from here is exactly the same as row 2. Chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch and chain space across. Then come back again with another one of these double crochet rows that creates the actual shape. And that is the basics of the Summer Fling Throw. You can change colors, of course, and there's instructions for doing that in the throw version of the pattern where I use 3 colors, but you could use as many colors as you want, make as many rows as you want. Again, all the information is in the written pattern to make it as wide as you want, in a variety of different sizes, all the way up to California King. And of course, I made this in Line Brand 24/7 cotton because I made it in the summer and I wanted it light and summer appropriate. You could make this in something like Line Brand Scarfy, which would change colors on its own and would be a lot heavier and warmer for the winter time. Or of course, Savannah's Choice. So there's a million different yarns you could pick from that would all be beautiful with this stitch pattern. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do give it a like. Let us know what you think in the comments. And please do subscribe to the Moogly blog channel. Thank you so much for watching.